I think that sometimes we overlook the importance of pricing our properties on based on market data.
Hmm.
At the end of the day, Debo, one thing that I've learned over the years is the importance of comparing ourselves with what the other properties are doing and properties that are within our same segment, right? So basically, one of the beauties of dynamic pricing is that it allows these portfolios and companies to adjust their rates in real time based on market conditions, let's say demand, and really the word competition and how your competitors are pricing themselves so that you can outsmart them and uh, get a higher conversion. I think it's very important.
Welcome to RevLabs by PriceLabs.
Welcome back to another episode of the RevLabs podcast by PriceLabs, your revenue management and market data platform. Today, I'm with Daniel Zammata. We'll get to know him better. He's a solution consultant here at PriceLabs. We'll get to know about his life, how he got into this industry, how he got into PriceLabs, and also he will give you his personal view of things at work or large portfolios, and maybe one big mistakes that he sees some maybe revenue managers do at times. So without further ado, let's welcome Danny. Danny, how are you today?
Ibo, so happy to be here today with you for this episode of Rev Labs. I'm doing great, excited.
And I must ask, right? If you watching the podcast, not listening to this, uh, Danny and I are wearing fantastic scarves. I must say, scarves day. I don't know what's happening. We matched fantastic scarves. You rocking that scarf? Great job.
Thank you. You as well. You as well. This is something that actually yeah, this a scarf I got the last time that I went to India on our workation. You know,
What's a workation? I mean, what's a workation? We'll ask you about this. There's the scarf, and there's also a big, for people again who don't see this, there's a big mandala behind. So maybe explain a bit the scarf, explain what's behind it,
true.
if you don't see it,
That's
and what's the connection with the workation? What's that?
that's true. This is mandala. Yeah, this is a piece that I got at this very unique and art shop in Rishikesh. But the funny story to make it short about this one is that the very first one that I got during our first workation uh, got lost. I lost it at the Beirut airport as I was on my way back home. I left it against the counter and I couldn't find it. And so I had to call the guy again and I asked him for a similar one. And this is the second one that I had to get, and this one finally made it. I got this one delivered to Udaipur when we were there. That was the third workation, and so made it finally made it home with me, and I'm rocking it right now. Yeah, I think it's a beautiful piece, and it just summarizes and adds up on what the Indian culture and means for us now that we've been to India for so many times.
What's a workation?
The workation, wow, yeah, it's this is I think one of the most amazing perks that anyone can get working anywhere, and this is just a gift, pretty much. I like to get call it a gift that Price Labs gives to all of us every year, and 2023 we did it actually twice. They bring everyone over to India, and we have a full week of collaborating, working together, doing activities, and we tour around the city where the workation takes place, and it's just a great, I would say, opportunity for us to get to know each other since the whole company is a remote company, and I mean, like going all the way to India, collaborating with peers and having fun together is just that's what workation is and what it's about. Yeah,
And I agree with you, right? Last time we were in the Himalayas, and for example,
yeah,
we launched on the
yeah.
product marketing side, we launched AI insights and AI products from 2,500 meters high. So it
Yeah,
was crazy to think, and we are working hard and playing hard and trying to sleep
exactly.
hours. It's fantastic. So that's a great life. So we can all kind of guess that you've been a traveler, big part of your life. So take us there. So who's Danny?
Wow, that's a great question. Who's Danny? I think I'm just a curious guy. I've been an entrepreneur for the first, I would say, part of my life. We actually, and I think that I told you this, we met many, many years ago when I had my property management company, Host Tonight, and you were at Booking.com. This is like 10 years ago that we had the opportunity to connect. But yeah, I'm just an entrepreneur, and then also a curious traveler and just someone that likes to have fun, but at the same time likes to get stuff done. That's a little bit of who I am.
So can you tell us a bit more about that hospitality business you had, or you still have?
Yeah, yeah. No, it was I was working at CNN doing business development and operations at CNN back in 2013. I had just finished my master's degrees in New York, and I just decided I had just opened my Airbnb or my apartment, a studio apartment I had back in Bogota, Colombia. And I got contacted by someone from Airbnb from the offices in Barcelona, telling me that they wanted to have a sit down, a coffee with me because I was part of the very first 10 hosts in Colombia that was doing it, and I was doing it very good. And I was like, am I doing this good? But looking back, I was paying out of this studio apartment in Bogota, I was paying my rent in New York. So yes, I mean, there was definitely something that I was doing good. And that's how I came up with the idea of starting a property management company, Host Tonight. I got to more than 450 active listings under management. Had the opportunity to sign up around 600 listings in total in 4 different countries with this company, and an amazing team, group of people that I was building this with. So yeah, that's a little bit of what Host Night was. We were a half property management company, half tech company because we also developed our own PMS. Um, so yeah, that's a little bit of what Host Night is.
And how about PriceLabs? So when did you arrive at PriceLabs, and what made you choose PriceLabs?
Wow, that's actually a really nice story. Right before COVID, I had sold a Price Labs to a bigger hospitality group from San Diego, California, and I was kind of taking a sabbatical. I was living in Lebanon, and then I had a partner there in Lebanon, and then we broke up, and I decided to go back to Colombia, and I I opened up a hospitality brand. And then as I was doing that, I felt like I needed a next step in my career, and I've always known of Price Labs. And then one day I just reached out through LinkedIn to Rishi, our amazing co-founder and CEO, and I was like, Richie, I want to apply to this position. I think that you should maybe hire me because I feel like Latin America, it's a market that hasn't been tapped, and that I can lead the efforts for Latin America. And he just got back to me right away. And 2.5 months later, I was part of the team, and I think that I was employee number 28 back in 2022. I mean, if you think about it, we're 250 souls right now working towards the same goal. So it's just crazy to think how fast we've grown over the last 3 years. It was my 3 year work anniversary just last week. So yeah,
Oh, hey, congrats! Look at that.
yeah.
Yes.
Thanks.
Um, so at PriceLabs, so what's your role today, and which kind of markets, which kind of clients you take care of?
Yep. So I'm a solutions consultant for the Latin American region. I oversee pretty much everything around the 21 countries that I cover in Latin America. It's 21 countries. And my role basically is just help our key accounts, so larger accounts at PriceLabs, to navigate and to understand the capacity and the impact that our products will bring to their portfolios. I'm a revenue manager myself because this is what I've been doing, managing other people's properties and that. But at the end of the day, it's more about teaching them how to use the product in a way that they get the most out of the products, right? That's a little bit of what I do at Price Labs on a typical days, just hopping on calls, reviewing accounts, looking at what they're doing and what could be done best. And yeah, that's what I do.
Plus, you travel a bit, right? You go to conferences. Just like tell me like the 5 different places you've been to, the 5 different last conferences. So I guess there's Puerto Rico recently.
Yeah, well, that's actually a very important part of my role is that and I think that it got to the point where like 40% of our time is focused on events. So we attend events in different markets. Now I'm only going to events in Latin America. Before I used to go be part of the US team, and I would go to events in the US as well. But now it's more Latin America. So the last one I just got back last night from Puerto Rico for the Rebook Conference 2025. It was an amazing event, and I think this is the event that it's positioning itself as the biggest event in the Caribbean for short-term rentals and vacation rentals. I've done in back in November, I did the Expo RV Latam Summit, which is the one that takes place in Cancun. I think that this is the biggest one or the second biggest one in the whole Latin American space. Um, I was then before that I was in Mexico City for the Casacon. That's Casago's event. I've been Mexico City as well for Expo RV Now Summit, the one they do in Mexico City, more for like our urban type of property
Mhm.
managers that want to get involved in the space and learn about partners, tech providers, etc. So many. I
Yeah, that's
mean,
very amazing. There's so many conferences and of good quality right across the world nowadays. So it's really it's always hard
yeah.
to pick. I think sometimes it's hard to.
Very hard. No, it is very hard. And I think that these organizers, they're always working on making these events, high quality events, relevant information to share. And it's just amazing to see the people, how involved they get into these events and the heart and soul that they, give into these events. Yeah.
Um, you talked about how you care about you hop on calls with key accounts at Price Labs. So what have you seen that's working for key accounts like this when they use Price Labs or when they do revenue management? What are things that are actually working with those strategies, for example?
Yeah. Um, well, the I can say that the first thing that or the number one thing that brings or like value that brings implementing these type of tools or our tool is that they get a little bit more organized. Most of the property managers in the region are in a phase of you know, growing. They're not really that big already as we see in Europe or in the US.
Mhm.
And they're looking for revenue management tools mostly because they get to a point where they start seeing like things getting out of control and they need to be more organized in the way that they implement their strategies, right? At this point, they're not very knowledgeable about what type of strategies they're going to implement, but they're looking into which tools they need to use in order to be able to come up with the right strategy. So this is one of the things that I believe that is very valuable for them, just knowing that there's a tool that would help them set a strategy for their portfolios, especially around pricing and revenue management. So that's the number one, I would say, value it brings our products to them. And then, other than that, of course, the more detailed type of value that brings our products, setting the right rates for their portfolios, managing their portfolios. Let's say if they have multi-units, helps them a lot. And minimum stay restrictions, or we call it how we call it, but minimum stay rules, which is the way that I explained this, is that the revenue management and pricing world, it's a two-sided coin. One is the pricing side, and the other one is the minimum stay rules,
Yes.
which I think that people sometimes undermine it, and it's a very crucial part of the strategies that they need to set for the portfolio. So trying to show those two sides, those two faces, and the impact that it has on their portfolios, I think that that's another value proposition that we bring and we put on the table.
So would you say that even for large portfolios, that like you say, large companies are structuring, that are getting organized, the biggest mistake you see happening often is not taking care enough of um, 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 short stay rules, for last minute, short stay rules for far out dates. That is what you see the biggest mistake.
Well, it's just that they don't know about it, right? And so when they come across PriceLabs, it opens up a world of opportunities, as I like to see it. It's just, it's like they get to this wow moment where like, oh, I didn't know I could do this, even though I've been managing 150 listings. So now knowing that they can set a last minute restriction or minimum stay restriction for the last minute period, right? Or a date range, and then there's a second date range for the default booking window, right? Where their booking window actually falls, and then there's a far out booking restriction or minimum stay rule for far out periods, right? All this, it's just so new for them that it opens up that mind, and they'll be like, oh, I didn't know I can do this. This is so amazing. Yeah.
Um, Now, thinking again, last question for me here. What is the question I've not asked you about large portfolios that you think you'd like to communicate to people listening to this and who are our audience?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot here.
I know, although it's not fun.
Well, I think that sometimes we overlook the importance of pricing our properties on based on market data.
Hmm.
At the end of the day, Thibaut, one thing that I've learned over the years is the importance of comparing ourselves with what the other properties are doing and properties that are within our same segment, right? So basically, one of the beauties of dynamic pricing is that it allows these portfolios and companies to adjust their rates in real time, based on market conditions, let's say demand, and really the word competition, and how your competitors are pricing themselves so that you can outsmart them and uh, get a higher conversion. I think it's very important. So by leveraging this data, including like seasonal trends, we're talking about local events, competitor pricing. These vacation rental companies, these property management companies can fine tune their pricing strategy to stay competitive and, let's say, maximize, or before that, optimize their rates in order to maximize that revenue, right? So I think that's critical. That's critical. Always see what your competitors are doing. Of course, PriceLab. This is something that you can do through PriceLabs. We have the competitor calendar. We have the market research space with the market with the market reports product, where you can look at historically how specific markets are performing in order for you to make more informed decisions, smarter decisions, that again, it's going to help you to optimize your rates in order to maximize revenue. So I think that's critical.
Okay. Indeed, analytics is a big part of our product, right? Analyze things before you do something, how you're doing, performance, the reports we have. Indeed, it's helps so much with making the right decision and then checking afterwards whether you've done this. And I know, for example, in a tool called Report Builder, we just added a feature that enable people to upload their goal and then see track how they're doing compared with these goals, which again is fantastic, and being able to
Love that.
analyze things
Love
as
that
without
product.
doing them. I think it's also a very exciting new feature.
Oh yeah.
Danny, thank you so much for your time today. If people want to know more about PriceLabs or want to contact you, what's the best way?
Well, they can always go to pricelabs.co if they want to learn more about our products and our company. And if they want to contact me, my email is daniel.zammata, Zammata at pricelabs.co. Of course, I'll be happy to get a bunch of emails and hopefully just spend a couple of days just getting back to people if needed. And but one thing that I would actually love to do is switch roles and have the opportunity to one day make a rep labs about you and interview you, because I think that you have also a super interesting path and super interesting story that I would actually be love to be the one who conducts the interview and hopefully have the opportunity to get to know you more, and that everyone that listens to our podcast gets the opportunity to get to know you better.
Why not? I always think it's way more comfortable to ask the questions, but who
I know.
knows? Who knows? Danny, thanks once again for all these insights about yourself, about the
Yeah,
company, and the tips for large portfolios. Appreciate that. Take care.
absolutely. Thank you, Thibaut. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Bye.